Ugh. Oh shit, forgot that update. I didn't think there'd be one, but it's nice to know for sure. Hmm. My shit capping. Awesome. Alright, I need at least one more level before I start grinding. And I don't think I'm gonna get it here. I'd rather not go to Searing Gorge or Burning Steps on this tune because I'm doing that with my Paladin. Um, hmm. Do I have any items to start quests? I don't. You know, I'm just gonna go up here. Let's see what level these one mobs are. I forget their name. I don't remember if I checked this guy or not. To your west, so right over here. Oh, this is green. Fuck. Whatever. Maybe the mobs will be good for grinding. Is that one of them? Yes. Are you serious? You can just keep casting that. I didn't know that. Did not know rogues could just keep stunning you.
Here we go. Classic WoW is not a race. It's a marathon. These are words I stand by. And today, I will explain to you what I mean with this. You see, Classic is going to come out in a couple of months. And like many other players, I'm anxious to get to max level and drown my character in a ton of epics for the awesome crits and the bragging rights when I stroll through my capital city.
Good.
Yet, all that seems very far away when you log in for the first time and start your journey. While the level cap is much lower than BFA, leveling itself goes a lot slower. No heirlooms, no XP boosts, no recruit a friend, no random dungeon finder with little bags and bonus XP at the end. Your mana depletes much quicker, and mowing down packs of mobs is for many not possible. This means that the pace is very slow compared to retail, and it means that going up even one level can take a lot of time.
Obviously.
All these factors can demotivate you when you're constantly fixated on the max level stuff. And here's my tip. Don't focus on it. Trust me, this is not a private server, so chances are a rating on your server, or just your server in general, is not going to go away anytime soon. And looking at level 60 when you're only level 27, and having such a long road ahead of you, is not exactly a good way to level up. You see, Classic WoW, like I said, is a marathon, not a race. And like a marathon, you need to set smaller goals for yourself, rather than one or two really large ones. Make it so every hour, half hour, or whatever, you can check something off of your to-do list. So, here's an example of how I would set up my own personal leveling journey, so to say.
I didn't do any of this motherfucking bullshit, man. I log on, I get 60. I log on, I get 60. I think of one motherfucking thing. I don't even care about gear. Like, I play with somebody else and gear doesn't matter as much. I get 60. That was my one fucking goal. All my friends were in the town, leveling up their professions, talking with each other, having fucking fun. I wasn't having any fun because I was a warrior, I was level 36, I was dual wielding, and I had Mortal Strike, or I guess maybe a little bit higher level than that. But I was fucking terrible. And I sat there and I leveled all the way through because that was the only fucking thing that I wanted to do. That was the main focus that I had. Professions were a waste of my fucking time. I could buy the gear. Leveling up first aid was the only thing that I really cared about. And at that point, I would just eat food because then I could tab out and watch porn for 30 seconds while the food, you know, like increased my health. I did not give a fuck about this. I was sprinting every goddamn day. That's the way I play games.
And the many goals I try to set. So each time you get a little bit further, it might seem like you're still miles away from level cap, but you've once again marked something off your checklist.
Right.
Let's say we're talking about a troll mage. You log in and start leveling. The first goal you can set for yourself is to get out of the starting zone. Alright?
I don't know why they're talking about me.
Quests. So now what? Well, now you should head out and grab your first professions, like herbalism and alchemy, mining and blacksmithing, etc. Your next goal can be to get to level 10, because at level 10 you will get your first talent point,
This would make me so mad because my mom played like this. Like, she would be urban. She'd be level 42. I'd be like, Mom, you're not 60. What the fuck are you doing? I'm having fun. Well, quit it, Mom. Speaking of that, actually remind me about that, about like my mom getting 60 after the video, okay? I have something to say about that.
And you should be high enough level to head out to the crossroads, for instance. Once you've accomplished that, it's time for the next goal, level 13. Because level 13 is the minimum level that you need to enter your first ever dungeon, Ragefire Chasm. Once you've done that dungeon and the quests, you should have a chunk of experience under your belt and start making your way to level 17 or so. While leveling to level 17, you can pick up the Forgotten Pools quest in the Crossroads. It's a question that will involve you eventually killing the bosses in the Wilderness Caverns, which, for most people, will mean their first blue weapon, as both the staff and the sword are insanely good at lower levels.
That staff actually
Once you get to level 17, it's time to actually do the Wailing Caverns, depending on your class, and get that cool weapon. How about this for a crazy challenge? See if you and your friends can actually make it to Westfall as Hordes and clear the dead mines. And if you're Lions, you can do the same with the Wailing Caverns. Next goal for you can be Shut Off and Keep, which for some people is doable at level 19, so again, that's only 2 levels away from the minimum level you needed to join the Wailing Caverns.
I stopped doing dungeons. At like level 25, I stopped doing them. Here was the problem. Here was the problem with dungeons. Is that they would take too goddamn motherfucking long. Whereas, like, I don't want to have anybody slowing me down. I don't want to have anybody wasting my fucking time. I want to be going from point A to point B as fast as fucking possible. Okay, and like as soon as I realized that, I would maybe do a dungeon if I was in the area, and I would just quest. And if people make me sit around, I would fucking leave. Like,
Well, now he's out of mana.
honestly, I was probably the most motivated person to like get 60 that there ever has been. Zoomer, you're goddamn right. Like, you think I want to sit around and waste my fucking time? No, I'm there for a reason. I'm there for the fucking loot. Like, that was the only thing that I cared about. And I would play like that. I still play like that, honestly. Like, I want to go in, get in there, pop the fuck off, and then get the fuck out. That's the way I play the games. For all these people didn't make the same... What was this here? Make the same dungeons faster? People... No. And see, like, I would try to tank. I would try to do Mythic Plus dungeons, challenge mode, speedrun dungeons in Burning Crusade, in Vanilla WoW. And if somebody was too slow, I kick them the fuck out. I get somebody else. And then I end up wasting more time because then, you know, it takes forever to have them get over there, and that was actually a huge headache. But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of things. See, here's the thing, right? Is that for a person like me, you would think that BFA would be better, right? Or Legion would be better.
No.
But truthfully, the ability to operate in a more open environment and make the decisions and choices on my own was more meaningful to me than just having a system that already reinforces what I already wanted to do. Because I like the idea of being able to do dead mines in 20 minutes, but now whenever it's part of the game, it's not as impressive, and it's just like, it's weird.
After that, the goal can be level 20, because for some classes you'll get your first speed bonus. Shamans get Ghost Wolf, Hunters get Aspect of Cheetah, Druids can start putting talents in Feline Swiftness, and well, this Mage, he gets Blink. Technically not a speed bonus, but since you can blink forward, it makes traveling on foot a little faster, so you know what I mean.
Right.
After that, you can focus on zones like Ashenville, a bit more of Stone Talon Mountains, and Hillsbrad Foothills. Perhaps you want to get that War Song Sash from that ever so challenging War Song Supplies quest. And a little later down the line, you can start doing Black Fathom Deeps. A few more levels later, and we can start doing stuff in Thousand Needles. Get a group together to do that escort quest at the Grim Totem place. Maybe after that, you can get a group going for Razor and Crawl and try clearing that. Or you can get some people together to farm Scarlet Graveyard. A very short dungeon that knows 3 rare mobs that all drop some seriously good gear, like the items you see on the screen right now.
True.
These items will give you a major boost in your damage, so doing a couple of farm runs means that you might just get your hands on one of these. That, and by the time you get to level 30, most classes start unlocking some really cool abilities, so you have that to look forward to. Things like Travel Form for Druids, Feign Death for Hunters, Wind Fury Weapon or Chain Lightning for Shamans level 32, and if you leveled your professions, you can start gathering materials to craft some seriously good gear for your level. Think about the Robe of Power from Taylor's. A blue robe with some nice spell damage, and
Wow.
since spell damage is very scarce
Well,
on
actually,
lower
it's
levels,
really good. Holy
it means
shit.
this will give you the edge over someone that didn't bother going
Damn.
for this robe. Then at some
Damn.
point in your 30s, you can start risking your life in Stranglethorn Vietnam and see if you can rack up on some honorable kills. Maybe take a break from leveling and try to get that private or grunt PvP rank so you can
Okay.
get yourself that PvP trinket very early on to trick some unassuming players. After a couple of levels, let's say at level 38, you can try and go back to do those
What is my
quests you saw in
PvP
the
rank?
Highlands at Stromgarde Keep. I mean, they were undoable when you just
Senior
reached the
Sergeant.
Wrathy Highlands as a level 32, but now that you're stronger, it might be doable with a few other people. And after you got your mount, maybe now you're brave enough to try an Ultimate run, which means you're running all the way from the Arathi Highlands to the Badlands. A very time-consuming process, but it involves you going from Arathi to the Wetlands, to Lochmadan, and then finally into the Badlands. Think about how cool it would be if you're a dwarf, you're level 14 in Lochmadan, and out of nowhere you see some horde dude strolling by on his mount because he's going to Uldaman. The possibilities are endless in vanilla, and I've only talked about a fraction of the amazing things you can accomplish and experience.
There's a moment that will always live in my mind. I had done dead mines with a warlock. We were both the same level. Later on, I'm walking inside Booty Bay, and at the maw of the the gate where like the two guys are at, the opening to go into Booty Bay, that same warlock was sitting there in front of me, level 40 on a mount. I was like level 34 or 33. I felt like the biggest loser imaginable. I literally felt like I felt like shit because this guy had done all this other stuff and I didn't do any of it. That day I played 12 hours. The next day I played 12 hours. The day after that I played 12 hours. And after a while I got to level 40. And I got my mount too.
I'm gonna hit him with my stick.
Classic
Yeah,
WoW,
free mount,
from
I
level
know.
1 to your early 40s. And level 60 is still a long haul away, but there was already so much fun to be had. Fun where the main focus is not fixated around getting to level 60, but
Right.
taking the leveling marathon just step by step. And because of these smaller steps, we're not worried about reaching level cap ASAP, getting our pre-raid bis gear and whatnot. We're focused on all the great things we accomplish along the way, like completing the first dungeon run, or getting a screenshot with your low-level friends at Aragorn's corpse, helping some guy kill Quailboars in the Barrens,
Yeah, we do that.
passing fellow adventurers along the way and throwing them
It's a
an
nice
arcane
picture.
intellect,
I like that.
while a druid throws you a mark of the wild buff. That's how I would recommend you approach vanilla. Take it one step at a time and enjoy every single step that you take. Don't be focused on the very far away. Focus on the right now and soon to be. And you'll find
Okay.
your leveling from 1 to 60 to be much less of a grind and much more of an epic journey. So yeah, I thought I wanted to share that with you guys. I hope I was able to make my point, as I'd like to just remind people to not get so hyper-focused around the level 60 stuff and enjoy the leveling. Because leveling's half the fun if you ask me. Alright guys, that's all for today. I'm Hamster Wheel, and as always, have a good one.
Now, I'll be honest. The way I play games, like the way I play WoW, like that is kind of true. Like I'm the one that plays it in a weird way. Like I'm the one that's super over serious, and I just get like fucking, like that's the way that I am. Mom hitting 60 story. So recently, my mom's video about her hitting level 60 has gone viral. And the video of her has almost 1 million views. 1 million views. She is now the most watched video on my entire YouTube channel. I'm a little bit embarrassed, honestly. Because like now it's like, my mom has more views than I do. This is, I don't even, what do you even say about that? I don't even fucking know. But
There's really
yeah,
nobody
there it
worth
is.
killing over here, just a
So
bunch
I
of
wanted to say,
warriors.
yeah, I sound different. Yeah, it's because I was 16 years old, man. I was a fucking kid back then. Like, yeah, of course I was different. The quest continues.
Alright, I'm actually gonna For some reason, that defaulted to part 2 of a reaction video instead of part 1, so I have to go and fix that. Burn, bitch. Alright, now I just need pathfinders. That was a bit of a waste, but whatever.
Ten changes that were made after Vanilla WoW that made WoW better. I should watch this video just to trigger you guys, because I know people are going to get mad about it, right? Because they're like, oh no, that's not true. Everything about Vanilla WoW is perfect and nothing needs ever to change. But it is kind of weird. Here's one thing that I think about, is that everything in Vanilla WoW just randomly came together. And it was like perfect. And I genuinely think that it was probably an accident.
Halo 2 was an accident.
Like, because it was so genius. Like, the entire game was so
Halo's
fucking
popularity in
genius
general was an
that
accident.
I can't believe that anyone except for Jesus could come up with this game, right? And like all of the different ways. Like, I don't know how it could be so perfect. Does that make sense? Miss Pandaria is what ruined WoW. My dad said, it seems like whenever the pandas came out, things started to go downhill. That's specifically what he told me.
I got my 6.
So yeah, you're not wrong.
Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another
that
episode
gear looks
in the
badass.
Azeroth Arsenal. This is a series where we take a look at some of the more interesting weapons and armor in the game's history.
Okay.
This one is a little different
The heroism
because
gear right
the
there
focus is
with the
on
arc-
armor.
Oh wait, this isn't even the fucking. Hold on a second. Oops. Did he even do episode 1 or no? I don't think he did. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and do the playlist.
Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another video for you. Some people liked my latest video about Quilsarar, so I thought it might be fun to start a whole series about some of the more iconic weapons in the Warcraft universe. I'm calling it the Azeroth Arsenal, and what better way to start it with none other than Thunderfury, the Blessed Blade of the Windseeker. Being one of the first legendaries released back in vanilla, is quite possibly one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic weapon in the entire game. To get it back then, you needed 3 things: luck, 39 friends, and a lot of gold. But before we get into how to actually obtain it, we should first talk about the history and lore behind the weapon to get a good understanding of why it's epic, or legendary, I guess. I'll give a very abridged retelling. Simply put, it's the weapon of the former prince of all wind elementals, Thunderon. A very long time ago, before the time of man, Azeroth was the stage of an all-out war between the 4 elemental lords: Ragnaros the Fire Lord, Alakir the Wind Lord, Neptulon the Tide Hunter, and
Fuck you, I
Therazane the
see
Stone
you.
Mother. Their itinerary was basically to keep
Don't
Azeroth
scare
in a
me.
perpetual state of chaos and destruction. Why?
I'm just gonna go back
Well,
over
why
here.
not? Actually, it was because there was a 5th element, Spirit, that was being consumed by the world soul, Azeroth. This sent everything off balance, and as a result, the remaining elementals became quite violent. It's sort of like Captain Planet, with Spirit as heart. So, these elemental lords were at constant war with one another, and were free to do as they pleased until the old gods arrived. Being far more powerful, the elemental lords allied together in light of a common enemy. But it wasn't enough. They were defeated, and were swiftly enslaved by the old gods, and became tools to be used. The Pantheon would eventually arrive and defeat the old gods and put the elemental lords in timeout basically, and imprison them in their own elemental planes. The Firelands for Ragnaros and all of the fire elementals, Deep Home for Therazane and her earth elementals, Skywall for Alakir and his winds, and the Abyssal Maw for Neptulon
It's a
and
pretty
his
good
waters.
chest, but I'm not doing it.
No longer having
Oh,
that
fuck.
common enemy, the elemental lords continued their war with each other, and a battle called the Elemental Sundering took place. It was a 5,000-year war between 2 main belligerents, Ragnaros and Alakir. Ragnaros wasn't playing fair though. He had his 2 lieutenants, Baron Geddon and Gar, deceive and betray the prince of the air elementals, Thunderon. They lured him into a trap where he was struck down by Ragnaros and his weapon, Sulfuras. We'll talk about that one in another episode. Ragnaros consumed much of Thunderon's essence and became far more powerful, but he saved some for later. He stored what little remained of Thunderon's essence
I didn't even
in 2
turn it in.
special artifacts, the Bindings of the Windseeker. These were placed in the hands of his trusted lieutenants, Gar and Geddon, where they would patrol the caverns of the Molten Core to protect Ragnaros during his slumber. So, these 2 bindings, although it's just a small portion of his essence, hold incredible power and would be key in creating a weapon capable of harnessing the Fallen Prince's power. Which brings us to the events of World of Warcraft. The first 2 raids in the game were Onyxia's Lair and the Molten Core. the dawn of raiding in World of Warcraft. That's right, no longer were you with 4 others strolling through a dungeon. You were with 39 other people working together to make it through this ultimate challenge. At this point in the game, even epic items were very rare. So not just an epic, but rather a legendary was, well, legendary. They required a lot of luck and dedication, and only a very small percentage of the player base would ever get them. Even to this day, 13 years later, Thunder Fury is still only held by a small percentage of the player base. So, how did you get it? Well, Geddon and Gar were both bosses in the Molten Core, which held a whopping 10 bosses total, ending with Ragnaros himself. There were different orders in which you could defeat the bosses, but they were generally the 4th and 6th bosses respectively in the raid that people killed. So, fairly deep within the area. They were quite difficult during the time, mainly because, like I said, this was one of the first raids. People for the most part had no idea what they were
Oh,
doing.
you were
and it
just
was
waiting for
chaos.
me. Okay.
But eventually, people started getting the hang of things and were able to take them down. They dropped several
Literally
epic
waiting
purple
around the
items
corner.
as a reward, and a very, very small chance to drop a binding of the Windseeker, the artifact Ragnaros had entrusted to them long ago. Baron Geddon dropped the left binding, and Gar dropped the right binding. The flavor text reads, the left and right halves of Thunderon's eternal prison. One player needed to get both of these to be able to start the process to obtaining Thunder Fury. Another thing I should say is that this was also back when people used Dragon Killing Points, or DKP for short. Like I said, with 40 people in one raid, it was chaos, and this point system was a way to try and have an orderly way of distributing items to all 40 of these players. You would earn these points by killing bosses, and then spend them on items. And with Thunder Fury being equipable by every class who could hold a sword, there was a lot of competition. If your guild was smart though, they would limit it preferably to warrior tanks and maybe DPS rogues since they got the most use out of it, but like I said, no one knew what they were doing back then, so even hunters would get it in some cases. So you would raid the Molten Core weekly, hope and pray that the bindings drop, and hope and pray that you have more DKP than everyone else. If you managed to get both bindings, you went to the high-level Silithus zone and talked to an NPC named the High Lord Demetrian. He asks you to examine a Vessel of Rebirth, which would later be used to summon the Elemental Lord, Prince Thunderon, once more. If you brought the right materials, that is. To do this, you needed 4 things: the left binding, the right binding, the essence of the Fire Lord, which is dropped by Ragnaros, the final boss of the Molten Core,
Too bad I
and
can't help
10
him.
legendary enchanted Elementium bars. So, we have the bindings covered pretty thoroughly. As for the essence of the Fire Lord though, this was quite hard to obtain as you would imagine. Ragnaros, being the final boss, was appropriately the hardest out of any of the encounters in the raid, and your guild needed to be on top of their game to take him down. You couldn't skip right to him either. You had to kill all 9 other bosses and extinguish the ruins near them before you unlocked the NPC that summoned Ragnaros. Luckily though, the essence was a 100% drop rate, so there was no luck involved there, just skill. Remember earlier when I said that one of the 3 things you needed was a lot of gold? Well, that's where these enchanted Elementium bars came into play. To make these, you needed 3 Elementium Flux, which you could buy from vendors at 3 gold each, so 30 total, which was 90 raw gold. That was nothing to sneeze at back then. But we're just getting started. You also
You know, I don't
needed
think I'm
fire
gonna have
recovery
more than
agent, so 10 total,
3,500
$10.
bots next time.
These dropped from the Molten Core, and if your guild was nice, they'd usually supply you with this.
If I did that, I would almost have to switch it to a normal server, but I'm not going to because that's stupid.
Otherwise, you'd have to buy them off of the auction house. You also needed 10 Arcanite bars for each enchanted bar, so 100 total. These were a high-end crafting reagent used in many endgame weapons and armor. They needed 1 thorium bar, which miners made, and another item called Arcanite crystals, which you rarely got from thorium veins. And to top it
I'm gonna
all
say
off,
the chest would
only an
probably sell
alchemist
for
could
more.
transmute the bars once a day, and they would also charge a fee for that too. And once again, you needed 100 of these. The last item
You
you needed
again.
was something called an Elementium Ingot. These were rare drops from the next raid, the Blackwing Lair, which was even harder than the Molten Core.
Fucking
You needed 1 for
bitch.
each bar, so 10 total. Once again, very expensive and hard to get. For most players, they would basically have to rely on their guild for supplying most of these materials because it was just too expensive for one person to handle. And if that wasn't enough, even smelting these bars was a challenge by itself. To learn the recipe, you had to find a special NPC in the Blackwing Lair raid named the Master Elemental Shaper Crixix, who was behind 4 bosses in the raid.
I've been wanting to see if there's a flight path up here anyway.
Control him, and if you talked to him, he would teach you how to smelt these enchanted Elementium bars. So, after a lot of work, you had your bindings, your essence, and your bars. Returning these to Demetrian allowed you to summon the fallen prince himself, Thunderon. So, you of course would want your entire guild present, unless you were into getting one-shotted by elemental lords. You would battle the Windseeker, and if you were successful, he would leave behind his weapon, the orange dormant wind-kissed blade. Using it would start a quest called Rise Thunderfury, where you would force Demetrian to use the materials you provided to infuse the weapon with power, turning it to us.
Wait, what happened here?
The hardest out of any of the encounters in the raid, and your guild needed to be on top of their game to take, so 30 total, which was 90 raw gold.
I was fighting bots, so I didn't really listen.
That was nothing to sneeze at back then. But, really though, the essence was a 100% drop rate, so there was no luck involved there, just skill. Remember earlier when I said that one of the 3 things you needed was a lot of gold? Well, that's where these enchanted Elementium bars came into play. To make these, you needed 3 Elementium Flux, which you could buy from vendors at 3 gold each, so 30 total, which was 90 raw gold. That was nothing to sneeze at back then. But we're just getting started. You also needed the rare Fiery Core reagent, so 10 total for 10 bars. These dropped from the Molten Core, and if your guild was nice, they'd usually supply you with this. Otherwise, you'd have to buy them off of the auction house. You also needed 10 Arcanite bars for each enchanted bar, so 100 total. These were a high-end crafting reagent used in many endgame weapons and armor. They needed 1 thorium bar, which miners made, and another item called Arcanite crystals, which you rarely got from thorium veins. And, to top it all off, only an alchemist could transmute the bars once a day, and they would also charge a fee for that too. And once again, you needed 100 of these. The last item you needed was something called an Elementium Ingot. These were rare drops from the next raid, the Blackwing Lair, which was even harder than the Molten Core. And their guild for supplying Bundle. And if that wasn't enough, even smelting these bars was a challenge by itself. To learn the recipe, you had to find a special NPC in the Blackwing Lair raid named the Master Elemental Shaper Crixix, who was behind 4 bosses in the raid. You had to have one of your priests mind control him, and if you talked to him, he would teach you how to smelt these enchanted Elementium bars. So, after a lot of work, you had your bindings, your essence, and your bars. Returning these to Demetrian allowed you to summon the fallen prince himself, Thunderon. So, you of course would want your entire guild present, unless you were into getting one-shotted by elemental lords. You would battle the Windseeker, and if you were successful, he would leave behind his weapon, the orange dormant wind-kissed, preferable to give weapon with power, turning it to Thunderfury, the blessed blade of the Windseeker. It had a high DPS with a very fast 1.9 speed, agility, stamina, some resistances, and a nice proc that deals damage and slows attack speed of targets hit. As I said, it was preferable to give this to rogues for damage and warrior tanks for better tanking. Honestly, probably warrior tanks were the best because it was the perfect tanking weapon throughout all of vanilla, and tanks even used it for a while in the next expansion, the Burning Crusade. Although as a vanilla rogue, I didn't want to admit that back then. So, that's the story of Thunderfury. It's a little more epic than getting a legendary from Blingtron, isn't it? Like I said, one of the most iconic weapons in the game. You'll see it linked in trade chat all the time, you get a feat of strength if you obtain it, and it had its own card in the TCG, and was re-released as an artifact model for Outlaw Rogues in the Legion expansion. Maybe this is Blizzard saying that it was a rogue weapon after all. And it was also part of the Shaman Order Hall questline, where you get Prince Thunderon as a follower. You pick up the blade from the
What level
corpse
was
of a
this?
nameless
49?
adventurer.
Okay.
You could even find it outside of the game in Diablo 3, Blizzard's action RPG game. Certainly one of the coolest weapons in the game, even to this date in my opinion. Certainly worthy of an episode in the Azeroth Arsenal. So, that's about it for this one. Let me know if you think I should continue this series. I think it has a lot of potential. There are lots of cool weapons and even armor in the game that have interesting stories behind them, just like Thunderfury. If you have any in particular that you want to see next, throw some suggestions my way. I make Hey guys, what's up? Mad Season here, back with another episode of the Azeroth Arsenal. This is a series that goes over the history of some of the more iconic weapons of World of Warcraft, both in-game and out-of-game. For this one, I wanted to go over the old Hunter vanilla weapons that had epic quest chains tied behind them, and that's the bow Raktalar, and the staff Loktalar, and also a bonus quiver. I was going to save these for my Time Warp series since you can no longer obtain them, but I thought that they'd fit this series better. These were rewarded after completing a very unique set of quests. They've all been removed since the Cataclysm expansion, along with tons of other stuff, so I thought it would be interesting to cover them in their entirety. As we know, everything is a hunter weapon, but these were actually hunter weapons. They're very iconic in the game's history. And, just like the previous episode with Thunder Fury, they even got their own special cards in the official trading card game. How? Well, let me tell you all about it. Let's start with the lore and history of the weapons. It all starts in the demon-infested forest, Felwood. Long ago, this was a normal serene forest, much like its neighboring zone, Ashenvale. But during the Third War, it was corrupted and twisted by the Dreadlord, Tychondrius, and turned into what it is today. He used a familiar artifact, the Skull of Gul'dan, to desecrate the once beautiful forest. It corrupted the trees, wildlife, and lakes, and turned the zone into a putrid green color. Another casualty were the mighty ancients of Felwood. These are the giant tree ants that you rarely see in the game.
There's just
As
3
mighty as
alliance
they
over
were,
here.
They too fell victim to Tychondrius' corruption and became petrified. The Third War eventually ended with the Legion's defeat, but many of these ancients were lost forever. However, they did leave behind a special item, the Ancient Petrified Leaf. This was a quest starter, usable by hunters only, and it was the beginning of an epic set of trials to obtain these powerful weapons. Prior to the release of the Blackwing Lair Raid, these were the hunter weapons to have. Not only were they powerful, but they were also sort of a status symbol for a while. You didn't just have to kill a raid boss, but you also had to go through those trials and tests of skill that could only be completed solo. Although, as you'll see, there were some tricks that you could do to cheese it. Not even getting into the trials yet, just getting this leaf was pretty tough for a while. It dropped from the chest that spawns after the Major Domo Executus fight in the Molten Core raid. He was the second to last boss in the raid, so during that tier, killing him was no easy feat. It of course wasn't guaranteed to drop, and as you would imagine, only one hunter in the raid would be the lucky recipient. And using it would start a quest to find the owner of the leaf. That was it. No other information was given. Imagine not using Wowhead or Thoughtbot at the time and scouring this giant world for the owner of this leaf. There were no question mark icons on the map back then, so that itself would have been a monumental challenge had it not been for these handy database websites or word of mouth from other hunters who already found the owner. Well, the owner turned out to be the spirits of some of those petrified ancients in the Felwood zone I mentioned earlier, only visible to hunters who hold the leaf. They seek revenge against the Burning Legion, specifically 4 agents hiding in 4 corners of the world. And if you would be their instrument of their wrath, you would be rewarded with these weapons that quote,
I'm just gonna go back to watching this one.
an
Arcanite
armor,
Reaper?
as opposed to the previous episodes,
make that
which
for
were
myself.
mainly weapons. In vanilla World of Warcraft, before raiding, you had the Tier 0 dungeon set. This is the blue armor set for each class, and the pieces were scattered across many different
We've actually
dungeons
seen
in
some
the
of these
game.
items in game.
It was the set to get pre-raids, and
Yep.
they were highly sought after.
I never
For
completed my Valor
druids,
set.
it was the Wild Heart. For hunters, the Beast Stalker.
I was a
Mage, the
piece of
Magister set. Paladins, the Lightforge armor. The Priest set was
Is it a
called
bug?
Devout.
Wait,
Rogues
is
had
it actually a
Shadowcraft.
bug?
The
Oh,
Shaman
man.
had the
I hope
Elements.
not.
Warlock the Dread Mist, and Warriors the Valor set.
Yep.
At first, it was quite rare to see someone with the full set, and it was almost a status symbol. Before people started raiding, even blue items were impressive, so it was like, whoa, this guy knows his stuff.
Yo, imagine getting impressed
And
over a
combining
blue
that
nowadays.
with the looks and the set bonus made them
So
quite
that's 2v1
special.
versus Quinn. I'll look at it at some point, Ray.
These sets would of course be later replaced by the superior Tier 1 set found in the Molten Core raid,
Of course.
and then that would be replaced by Tier 2, and so on.
Oh, dude, there it is.
But lost within the shuffle was something called the Tier 0.5 set, or the Dungeon Set 2 as it's called. This was sneaked in patch 1.10 in March of 2006.
Oh, that's where they added
At
the
this
weather
point,
effects.
the Temple of Ankh-Kiraj raid was already in
remember
the
this.
game, and that held Tier 2.5,
Yeah.
so raiders really had no interest in this revamped dungeon.
Oh, they're just over here
It
dueling.
was more aimed
Okay.
towards those who just stuck with 5-mans as their endgame, of which there were plenty because raiding back then was so time-consuming.
I don't think it was that
These
hard,
sets
was
were
it?
slightly
Thanks for
better
the 5
and
subs, man. I
modified
appreciate that.
versions of their originals.
Thank you.
The Wild
There
Heart
it is.
upgraded to Feral Heart, Beast Stalker to Beast Master,
There's just multiple.
Magisters to Sorcerers,
Holy shit.
Lightforge to
I feel like
Soulforge,
Magister is better than
Devout to
Sorcerer.
Virtuous,
Who's this
Shadowcraft
68?
Dark Mantle,
Oh,
Elements
58.
to
I
the
don't
Five
know,
Thunders,
honestly. I don't know if I'm
Dread
up
Mist to Death Mist,
Thanks for the 10
and
subs.
Valor
Thanks
to
for the 10 subs.
Heroism. In looks, there were just different color palettes for the most
They
part,
were better. They
but
looked
in
cooler.
stats and rarity, they were superior
is.
to their blue counterparts. The quest
Yeah,
chain
the
that
rogue version
awarded
looks
them
awesome.
was the same for each
I'm gonna need
class,
to get my
but
guild
it was
together. I'm
very
gonna have to have an
long and
emergency
expensive.
meeting here.
And as a result, not a lot of people completed it, and in fact, if you mention these Tier 0.5 sets to people today, most of them will have no clue what you're talking about.
I remember, like, whenever I saw how long it would take for me to get my tier 0.5 set, I was like, fuck it. I guess I'll just farm Grand Marshal instead. Like, I didn't want to waste my time. I thought it was a fucking waste of my... I thought it was just a complete waste of time. Like, why do I want to spend all day doing this piece of shit and getting this bad gear that's not even better than stuff in MC for me to do this? And I just got the MC... I just worked on the Grand Marshal gear instead. Thank you for finding about the new beta. Opt-in, refresh my app. I was logged in. I saw the classic beta service offline. You're a beast. Keep on streaming, man. See you in game. The rule after, thank you very much. To $20. I appreciate that, man. Let's go ahead and, it's a bug. You didn't actually get in. I really hope that's not the case. Just get rank 13. I got up to Knight Lieutenant, and then the 2.0 patch came out. Then I got the rest of my GM gear. Unfortunately, I didn't really grind enough. I just started too late into the game, and I didn't get enough time to do it.
So, I thought I'd cover the chain in its entirety and tell you about something that I think is a
Everybody
mystery
that shows
to a lot
up
of
gets a
people,
promotion.
Okay.
mainly for entertainment, but who knows? If you decide to play the classic servers, maybe you can even use it as a guide.
Arsenal with the 5 gift the community subs. Thank you
The
very
main
much.
This is gonna be
goal is to
overkill, but
collect
I don't
3
care.
fragments of an amulet
Oh,
and to
yeah.
break an ancient curse.
We have to slaughter these.
This
Filthy
video will be
Alliance
from an
scum.
Alliance perspective, but the chain is pretty
I
much
had no
mirrored
idea how
for
to
the
do it on
Horde.
Horde.
I'll list any minor differences in text, but other than that, the main differences are the turn-in NPCs.
Okay.
So, for the Alliance, it all started from the NPC Deliana, located just outside the throne room in Ironforge,
It was
and
expensive,
Makvar,
yeah.
the treasurer for the Horde,
Fuck
who you
that.
could find in Thrall's throne room in
Fuck
Orgrimmar.
that 100%.
They tell you that they have in their possession
Yeah,
a powerful
right.
set of armor worn by your class,
Yup.
and they're willing
Alright,
to
we're
give it
going
to
in.
you for a favor. So, because
Come on, people. Go fuck them up. Fucking murder him. I can't do that one right now. Pretty sure. Let me just see what level they are.
Resist, could you?
Go down there and fuck up that hunter. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's even more. Of course. Alright, I'll give everybody the promotion that I promised. I wish I could move the windows in this. Who else was there? Okay. I got rid of the bots I need to remove from this area so I can turn that quest in. But I can't do it anyway, so I think I'm just gonna go back. Or you know what? I'm gonna go see if there's a flight path over here. Let's go ahead and tell everybody to leave. They're cleaning it up quite nicely. Oh, that's Alliance. Never mind. Well, I guess I'm taking the road back. Shit, I got stuck. The fuck just killed me? Was it the curses? Whatever. I wouldn't have been able to stop it anyway. Well, no, I had a potion. I don't think that would have helped, though. You know, I'm just gonna put this on too. such a long ride. Fellwood's apparently a huge zone. And if you look at the map, it doesn't even look that big. Well, no, I guess that actually is pretty big. So if you look at Ashenvale, that zone's huge. You look at Fellwood, it's not that much bigger. Or smaller. No. He just mounted. Sucks to be him. Need like an energy drink or something. But I don't want to drink one. Oh, there was some shit going down over here. Oh, I want to go over here and kill the, get the feathers. I didn't realize there was another way to get rep around here. I'm gonna go ahead and start killing these bears, I think. Hmm. I didn't even need combustion for that one. I wonder if there's any good creepypasta stories on YouTube. I haven't heard one of those in forever. Oh, you son of a bitch. I don't remember how many of those I need, so I'm just gonna get like 10 of them. Yeah, you better heal, bitch boy. Almost like drop quests when there's like so many more of one kind of mob. Cause that way I don't have to discriminate and like try to pick one mob out of a group of 3 or 4. So this is perfect for me. I can just blow my load. Recharge my mana. Blow my load again. Oh, that was a good crit. At least this way I can grind for rep. set this XP. So I'm pretty sure if I go north and kill the timber malls up there, or not the timber malls, the other tribe, is it Deadwood? I don't know. If I kill those, I get rep for each kill. So that's pretty good. Oh yeah, what? One feather so far? Yeah. I wonder what the drop rate is on this. Probably pretty low. Oh, there's two. This motherfucker would fear me. Oh, roof loss. Don't see that very often anymore. Not over here anyway. Oh, well, then never mind. Hey, how's it going? I'm pretty sure I recognize you. You've been in here before. Biogenocide. Oh, this grind is forever. I'm actually probably about to play like Prey or something. Just to mix it up a little bit. At least they're dropping good loot. Even if they're not dropping the feathers I need. Oh, it's going pretty good, man. I'm just trying to get these, what do they call them? Deadwood headdress feathers. For this repeatable rep quest. At least I'm assuming it's repeatable. And I'm trying to get 53, and once I hit 53, I'm probably going to go grind elsewhere. And once I hit 54, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the Timberwall Hold quest. And then from there, I have no idea. Probably go back and grind some more. Or maybe go to back to Ungirl Crater or something, I don't know. How much XP are these giving me again? I really haven't been paying attention. 264, that's not a lot. Oh yeah, another feather. I should probably make my way back over there and see how many I actually need. That would have been shitty if you got that heal off. I'm gonna go at him with no mana. I think after I turn this quest in for the first time, I'm gonna go play Prey. I kind of want to beat that game. Just to get it out of the way. No, I have not played Dragonflight. In fact, I have not played any form of retail since Kata. I did download a Legion core not too long ago, and I messed around with that, but since that one doesn't have player bots, I'm kind of putting that on the back burner until, who's hitting me? Oh, this guy. Putting that on the back burner until I make new tunes across the board. And then I'll probably make a level 1 in Legion. It won't be with bots though, which means I can't do dungeons. Well, theoretically I could do dungeons. I'm gonna have to look into it. There's gotta be a way to tune that without it being, you know, crazy. Where I'm just two-shotting elite mobs. Oh, I guess I'll drink my potion. Really? I'm gonna die here, huh? Almost. Every time I come to that guy, I hardly have any mana. And that's my problem. It's the only reason he gets so close to killing me. I haven't really thought about playing Dragonflight or going back to retail either. It's just between Blizzard and the community, it's not worth it. I'm glad to hear they brought back some things. Apparently, there's a whole lot of. I haven't been like in the loop lately or anything. Cause I used to watch Osmo Gold, but ever since he turned into a beta ass bitch, I don't really listen to any of his newer videos. I think he's going for like a probably has like a new sponsorship or something, and they're basically telling him that every opportunity he has to make a popular talking point and let everybody know he has a popular position on a certain topic. But anyway, besides the point, since I haven't been watching any Osmongold videos, I don't really know any news in regards to WoW. Because I never really watched anybody else's shit. But from what I understand, there's like a lot of negative news and going on with Dragonflight right now. First, it was like player subscriber counts were doing way worse than expected, or something like that. And now they're like, I guess they're like firing people over there. I don't know. But they've been firing people over there. It's not like a big surprise. You know, I'm gonna go back there and fight that one mob real quick, because I totally spaced him out. No. I hate healing mobs. It's really annoying. They don't do any damage, they just heal. They might as well have an extended health bar at that point. Unless I get lucky and crit. Because I have a pretty specific spell rotation, so I would have to crit on my Fire Blast or something in order to do him in before he can heal. Alright, I should be able to kill him pretty easily now. Except he's probably gonna fear me. Nope, he didn't get it off. I'm gonna go ahead and ride back up to that quest giver. See how many of these things I need, because I don't remember. Oh, it is 5. How about that? I didn't get any rep. Figured I would have gotten rep. What's the point of it being repeatable if you don't get rep? Um, I'm just gonna go play Prey now. I'm gonna end the stream and then I'm gonna restart it here in a moment. Hey Slim, how's it going? I'll be back in just a moment.